Nichole Nichols, and today we're going to talk about some resources from the library that can help you with your compare and contrast essay that you're writing for Miss Evart's class. So the first thing we're going to do is navigate to the library webpage. So to do that, this is the main Wake Tech page. You're going to go up in the left-hand corner and click on Libraries. And this should bring you to the library, the main library page. So to get to, to get to our scholarly databases or to our online resources, you're going to look at this purple box right here, and you're going to click on that box. Once you're here, you'll notice that there are a few links here. So this link here, this A to Z database list, has a full list in alphabetical order of all of the databases that we have access to. So if you know a specific database that you'd like to use, this is a good link to go to so that you can go directly to that database. Then you see we have this link in the middle that says NC Live, which is what we're going to do in just a second. This is a service that's provided to us by the state. We have access to this as well as other public universities and public libraries. So this is our main source of scholarly material. And then this e-journal portal basically is for if you know the specific title of a journal or publication and you would like to look within that publication, you can use this tool to do that. But what we're going to take some time to do today is go into NC Live so that we can look at some scholarly articles. Okay, so this is what NC Live will look like once you click on that link. You may have to put in your credentials. Once you start clicking on articles to look at an article, you may have to put in your credentials, which you'll see that in just a second. But you should get to this page first of all. So what we're going to do, I'm going to imagine that the topic, I know that you're reading the essay, How Computers Change the Way We Think by Sherry Turkle. And the topic that I created based off of that essay is what effects does social media have on privacy rights of young adults? So that's going to be my topic. So from that topic, I'm going to pick out a few keywords to start my search. So you can start your search in this bar here, and you can just simply put your words there, kind of similar to Google. Or what I like to do is use this advanced search feature. I think it does a better job of searching for items. Okay, so once you get here, you'll notice that you have some different fields to put out. To fill out. So in the first field, and this drop down box right here, you can notice that there's different selections for this. If you know an author or a title or any of this information, you can certainly set it to that. But I recommend keeping it at all fields because it does a more thorough job searching if you just keep it there. So in each one of these boxes, we're going to put one of our keywords. So from my subject or from my research topic, what effects does social media have on privacy rights of students? I think I'm going to put in here social media as one of my first keywords. I'm going to pick out a second keyword in here just to get started, and I think that's going to be privacy. Okay, now we may need to add some more keywords later if we see that our results are not what we're looking for. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it like this. Okay, so under publication date, this is where you're going to have to check with Miss Evarts to see what kind of publication range she would like for you to stay within. But typically, if you're doing something that's more technology based, such as we're talking about social media, you're going to want to have a very short publication date. Typically, you wouldn't be any more than about a couple years out for something that that technological. I'm just going to go to 5 years, but we want something very recent because we're talking about technology. Okay. Now, for content type, So we know that we're looking for, let's think about the types of things that Ms. Devarts wants you to use in your paper. I know that you need to have at least one scholarly article. You also need to have one article from a reputable newspaper or news magazine. And then you also need to have something from a credible outside website. So we're going to get to the outside website in a minute, in a few minutes. But on this side of things, we're going to see if we can find the newspaper article and the scholarly article. So since we know those are the types of content that we're looking for, we're going to scroll down here. Actually, you can click to search and you can just type that in. So we want to look for newspapers. So we're going to check off newspaper article. Okay, and now we also know that we want scholarly journals. So we're going to check both of these off. Okay, and so now we have set our settings. For some reason it won't let me scroll, but we've set our settings. See this 4 up here lets us know we have 4 content types set. So we have those 2 options for newspaper and then the 2 options to that it'll bring us back those scholarly journals. Okay, the discipline square, you can leave that alone for right now. We're going to be able to do that on the next screen. Language, you can leave that alone for now as well. That's something else that we can wait for the next screen to do. Now, the one thing that's important is this box that says limit to. There's a lot of important things that we need to check off here. So one thing is we need to check off the items with full text. So the importance of this is a lot of times we have access to a lot of material, but some of the material we have access to, we don't have full access to. So that means we only have a citation or we only have a summary or an abstract of it. We don't have the full article. So sometimes it can be frustrating to find an article that's great, that seems like it will work, but then you realize you don't have full access to it. So you save yourself the frustration of that by checking that off from the beginning. Then, of course, we want to make sure that, we want to have scholarly materials. But since we're going to look for newspaper articles, sometimes if you check off scholarly materials, it'll boot out some of those newspaper articles. So we're going to leave this unchecked for now since we are searching also for newspaper articles. But if you wanted to just look for journals, then you would definitely check the scholarly materials button. And so those are the 2 items that you would need to look for. Under exclude from results, we do want our newspaper articles. So we want to, but we don't want book reviews. Sometimes book reviews confuse students because they look like an article that you could quote from. But of course, we don't want to quote from a book review. We would rather actually have the book to quote from the book. So that's why we're going to exclude book reviews. Well, I also recommend excluding dissertations. Of course, a dissertation is a paper that's done by a student who typically usually is a PhD student. And this is the paper that they're doing in order to gain their PhD. And while it might be some good information in there and it may be credible information, we kind of want to leave those alone since it's not, we don't really know how the process is as far as the peer review is with that. So, and I think I'm going to go back over here and I think I'm going to check this scholarly box because we can, we have that newspapers selected. So we should also get some newspaper articles as well. So I'm going to set this and now I'm going to go ahead and search so that I can get my results. Okay. All right. So now we have our results. So you see here we've got about over 6,000 results. We've got almost 7,000 results. On the side here, we see some of the selections that we made on the first screen. So we know we want full text and online. We want scholarly peer-reviewed journals. And again, I'll go over this later, but for right now, I'm just going to focus on looking for journals. And then we'll go back through and I'll show you the newspapers. But we've got the scholarly journals checked. We've got our journal articles checked. We have the content that we want checked. And so now, so that we can maybe get this number down a little bit lower so that this is a more manageable number of items for us to look through, we're going to set a few more limiters and parameters for our search. So one thing that's very important to do is to set your discipline. Okay, so the discipline, I'm gonna click more so you can see everything. The discipline talks about the different types of journals that are the articles are coming from. So they're coming, right now we have journals that are articles that are coming from agriculture journals, botany, chemistry, computer science. We have them coming from everywhere. So we have to think about, though, what types of journals, what types of disciplines would be best fitting for the topic that we're looking at. So if we're looking at social media and we're looking at privacy, then this computer science, it seems like there's a lot of articles that are in computer science. So there may be some good articles there that we can use. Also, maybe law, since we're talking about privacy, maybe there's some law journals that might be useful. And, since social media goes over, a lot of times it has the societal effect. It might be good to look at maybe some sociology journals, so social sciences journals. Okay, so once you check all of the disciplines that you like, you're going to click apply. And so that cut our results down considerably. We still have over 1,000 results, but it's going to be, all of these results are either from computer science, law, or social sciences journals. So that really helps us out because we have narrowed that. Okay, so now if we wanted to narrow that even more, we can select some subject terms. So subject terms are here, and if we click more, we can see more that's available. So the subject terms represent all of the terms that appear in these articles. And so if you're wanting to hone in on the articles that mention a certain topic, then you can use these subject terms to do that. So again, we have to think about, how can we find what we're looking for? So let's see if they have a subject term privacy. So they do. So let's check that one off. Okay. And let's see if they have social media in here. So they have that one. Okay. And so I'm going to set it just at those two, and I'm going to apply to. And another way you can use this is, say if you wanted to maybe see only about how, articles that talked about this in terms of women, or in terms of children, or in terms of a certain other topic. You could use that to highlight that as well. But we've set our subject terms, and so now we've got 298 results. So that's much better than having to swim through almost 7,000 results. So we did well with that. So now once you have those set, all you have to do is look through this list to find some articles that you think might be great. And this is the fun part of research, that because you get to kind of just see what kind of strikes your interest. Okay. So as you're looking through, be mindful of, if you're looking for things that are talking about a population within the United States, sometimes the articles will say where they're from. So you might want to, take note of that, because that one's from England, so we might not want to use that. Sometimes you can't see that until you actually click into the article. But those, that one, for, whatever reason, had that listed outside of there. So that was easy to see. Let's see. That one does look interesting, though, even though it's from England. So we'll take a look at it just to use it as an example. Okay, so once you get to the article, you'll notice that you may see a few things here. So you'll have the title up here, and then you've got your author is here. You've got the publication that the article came out of, and we can tell that this is not an article that, again, was done in this country. You've got the volume and issue, so all of the publication information is here. You first thing you should do when you look at an article is look at the abstract. So you can click on this abstract tab right here, and you can read this. So I recommend going ahead and reading this article is 19 pages. So scholarly articles tend to be long like that. So if you take time to read the abstract, it should tell you everything that's in the article, and it can save you a lot of time from reading an unnecessary article. If you just read that and decide from there if you want to take more time on it or not. The next thing I'll have you to notice on this same page, abstract and details, if you want to, kind of look through and kind of see, what kind of article this is, if you want to be sure that this is a scholarly article, you can look down here under source type, and it tells you that this is from a scholarly journal here. Also, country of publication, this is from the Netherlands. So that's another place where you can see where this is from. It tells you the publication subject. So this is in law and philosophy. Okay. Tells you what type of document this is. So a lot of the information about, what you need to know as far as screening if this is a type of article you want to use or not is in this page here. This same tab where the abstract is. Okay, so once you've read the abstract and you've looked over all the details and you realize that this is the type of article that you can use, there's different choices that you have with it. You can download a copy of this. So you can click this full text PDF button and go back over there, and there's I think there's an option here. Once this loads, you can print that. You can click this little arrow here to download a copy to your desktop or to your device, or you can click the printer button to print. You can also click up here. You can click this button to get the PDF copy for printing. Of course, the print button is there as well, so it's in multiple places for you. Also, if you don't want to print anything right now and you just want to email it to yourself for later so that you can come back to it, go ahead and click on the email button. And once this email form comes up, all you have to do is if you click on include bibliographic citation, you're going to be using MLA 8th edition. So you're going to set your citations. You're going to put in your email address. You're going to put in your name, and then if you can, this won't let me scroll down, but if you were able to scroll down further, you'd be able to see a box where you could put in a subject title. And right there, I would recommend that you put at least a few words that give you a clue about what the article is about, so that when you come across it in your email, you'll be able to know, kind of be more organized that way. And then if you click send, it will send a copy of this to your email so that you can have a link and have a copy of it to get back to later. Okay, also, speaking of citations, if you wanted the citation for this article, you can click on the button there, set your style. So again, we're going to do 8th edition MLA. And this will update to the citation in that particular citation style for that article. So I recommend that you you don't use these as your end-all citation. These are generated by a computer, so they could have some glitches in them. I always recommend students to use their official manual. So I would get the MLA 8th edition manual and actually go through this myself to make sure that there's no mistakes in this. Or I would make an appointment with the ILC. They would also be happy to help you with your citations. But please do not ever copy and paste this and just send this on to your instructor as is. Always just look at this as a starting point for your citation. Okay, so if you like this article and you want to know how to find more articles, one thing you can do is go to the references. And these are all of the articles that these researchers used to write this article. So everywhere where you see the blue links, this indicates that we have access to those articles. So this is a great way to use a great article to lead you to other great articles, because these may be some articles that you can use in your paper as well. Also on the right hand side, you'll see some related items here. That's another place to find great articles that are in the same ballpark as the current article that you're viewing. Okay, so now that we know everything about scholarly articles, let's go back over here, and we have our results. We have our results up here again. But let's say that we want now to focus on those newspaper articles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck scholarly and peer-reviewed, because, of course, newspaper articles are considered what's called popular sources, meaning that they don't go through a peer editing process like scholarly articles do. In order for a scholarly article to appear in a scholarly journal, it must go through a process where it's reviewed by other scholars in that particular topic. And it has to be signed off on as authoritative information in that field before it goes to publication. So newspaper articles don't go through a process like that. And so that's why if you keep that checked, it may boot those out, because you're telling, we want to, if we were checking this off and we're saying we want things that have gone through that process, and since newspapers haven't, it will boot those out. So that's why we're going to uncheck that. We're also going to uncheck the journal articles, but we're going to leave, of course, the newspapers checked. And we may need to, let's see, I think that we're going to need to clear our filters as well so that we can get back some results. Okay. All right. So now that we have newspaper articles, these are all from reputable sources. So here's one right here: privacy, censorship, and the free social media model. Okay, this is from the Wall Street Journal. So maybe we want to look at this. Okay, and so as you can see, this is an article here. This is from a reputable newspaper, talking about how maybe social media should be a paid service. Having to do with to have privacy. As you can see, this is a pretty short article. You may want to again find something that's a little bit longer. So over here on the right hand side, again, there's some other articles there's from The Economist. There are also some here. There's from USA Today. There's also some here from newspapers from other countries. So Canada Newswire. Let's see. Maybe we don't want this one. Let's go to the one from US Today. Maybe that one's a little bit longer. So this one is a little bit longer. This one seems like it would be a better fit for the project that we're doing. So we can look down here and to see if we have some more content in here that we can use. And so this is the same way. If you wanted a copy of this, you could click on PDF. You also can use the cite button, as we explained with the databases. You can print this, and you can also email this to yourself as well. Okay, and so that's basically how you can use the databases to find the articles that you need. So the last thing we're going to talk about is the outside credible website that you need to use. And for an example, I have Psychology Today, and of course we still have that topic that we were looking for. Remember, our topic in the beginning of this was what effects does social media have on privacy rights of students or rights of young adults. And so I found this article, and I'm going to go through this and show you a few things that you need to look for to make sure that you have a credible website, an article from a credible website. So one thing you have to look for is a clearly defined or clearly named author of the article that you're looking for. So we have a picture of the author, we know his name, and then if you scroll down at the bottom of this, it gives us some more information about him. Okay, so we know Dr. Phil Reed, he's a professor of psychology at Swansea University, and it even has a link to his faculty page. So that gives us a lot of confidence to know that he is an expert at this. He knows what he's talking about, and what he's got to say is going to be credible. Okay, another thing that's a great sign that you have something credible is he has his references listed here. There's references that are clearly listed so that we can go in and look at this and make sure that what he's saying is as it is in the source, that he's representing his sources correctly. So that's another sign that you have a credible website, is that there's some references listed there. Okay. Also, we have a posting date. So we can tell this was posted October 26th. So this was posted a few days ago, 2020. So this is a very recent article that was posted. So the fact that they've shown you the date is when this is posted, that also gives you some confidence that this is a trustable page. Also, one thing I recommend for you to do is to go down, you want to use this particular article, but go all the way down to the bottom. Usually this is at the bottom of the page. There should be a link that says about this, like an about page. So if you read the about page, it should tell you what, of course, the purpose of the website. Okay, so this is a group of renowned psychologists, academics, psychiatrists, and writers that contribute their thoughts and ideas. So that gives you more confidence. You know that the purpose of this is to gather all of these experts together to, render all of this information and opinions about psychology-related topics. Now, sometimes you'll see in the About page, it will say, this is a political site. We have a political reason, or this is to sell a particular product, or this is to, it'll tell you the purpose of the site. So that's very important to make sure that you're reading these About pages. And again, that's usually at the very bottom of the web page, they'll have a link that says About. If they don't have an About page, that might be a sign that might not be a page you want to use, because most credible websites are going to be very, clear about what they're about and what their purpose is. Okay, so that's pretty much, in a nutshell, some tips I would give about knowing if a site, a outside website, is a credible site. A lot of students think that, or a lot of students, another thing you can look at is the .com. .coms, again, are not necessarily bad, but again, you have to use this criteria that I just talked about to know if that's good or bad. But typically, you have to look at .coms with a very critical eye. .orgs are the same way. Some students may feel that a .org site, which is a nonprofit, is supposed to be a website of a nonprofit organization. A .org is really no better than a .com, because any kind of organization could say they're nonprofit and get a .org. There are a lot of political organizations that have a political bias that have .org websites, so you have to be careful about that. .edu sites are usually sites that are run by universities, so those might be more trustable. And .gov, of course, are government sites, so those would be more trustable. But overall, the criteria that we just went over, those are things you need to look at whenever you're looking at a website to cite from, as far as if it's credible information or not. So that's pretty much all that I have for you today. If you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to me. I am Nichole Nichols. I'm going to be giving my contact information to your teacher so that you can email me. And I have actually built a research guide for you as well. So all of my contact information will be there. So I look forward to seeing you in the library. You can also set an appointment with me if you would like to. So I look forward to working with you in that way, and have a good day.